All right. I told you yesterday that one of the names being floated as a possible replacement for Pete Hegseth to run Department of Defense is Florida Governor Ron DeSanctimonious. And I have a couple of funny clips here. Senator John Fetterman was asked, would you consider voting to confirm Ron DeSantis if that ended up being Donald Trump's nominee? And Fetterman, he has these moments where he's actually kind of funny. He says, I would consider it if Ron DeSantis admits that he wears lifts to make him look taller.
Considering voting yes on DeSantis if he finally admits that he has lifts in his boots. I'm sure he does. I think maybe 3 inches, 4 inches at least. Yeah.
He's
Okay, so we're going to hear in a moment from Senator Mark Kelly with like sort of a more serious explanation. I actually think this is hilarious. The entire lifts thing is funny only because this is a Republican Party that, as we've talked about before, as you know, puts so much emphasis on traditional markers of being a masculine alpha male. Height is one of them. Trump lies about his height and apparently wears lifts. And so does Ron DeSantis. And I don't care how tall you are, you know? I don't think Anthony Fauci's particularly tall, but what I care about is what he says and what he knows and what he does, not how tall he is. Maybe Fauci is tall. I didn't think he was. The point here is, who really cares about that? These people are so vain that they do. And it's funny to see it get turned around. Now, here is Mark Kelly with maybe a more substantive reaction to the possibility of DeSanctimonious replacing Pete Hegseth, which I do want to delve into.
You know, a governor of one of our biggest states. He's served in Congress. He's, served in the military. So I think he has what you would look at on paper as the requisite kind of experience you would want in a Secretary of Defense.
It's not 100% clear to me who
This is now Josh Hawley.
he wants a Secretary of Defense right now.
And that last comment coming from Senator Josh Hawley, a Republican who had a meeting scheduled with Hegseth tomorrow. He told me that it was canceled, but the transition tells me that they've rescheduled that for next week.
Yeah. So a lot of really weird stuff is happening. The cancellation of the meeting with Josh Hawley, we are told, is just a scheduling issue. I want to address what Mark Kelly said, because this is one of those things that sort of requires a little bit of examination. The concept of being qualified on paper is an interesting one. What Mark Kelly is arguing about Ron DeSantis is that if you knew nothing about him and you just read about his experience and you see his education, you see his military service, skipping over the details, right? Like a 30,000 foot view, his education, his military service, his experience as a governor. Governors are much more administrators than senators or members of the House are. There is a sense in which, again, using Mark Kelly's term on paper, he does seem like he would be, quote, qualified. The problem with a lot of these people comes not in the on paper, it comes in the flesh, what are they like? And of course, Ron DeSantis is, although a little bit more of a hesitant MAGA type guy, still represents this new wave of republicanism that I believe is at a fundamental and core level unfit to lead, unfit to serve, and shouldn't be in charge of anything. However, Mark Kelly is correct. He is correct that at a 30,000 foot view, it's hard to say based on historical precedent. You might argue the person running DOD should actually have these other qualifications. Fine. I might agree with you on what they are. But at some 30,000 foot level, it's more difficult to argue that DeSantis isn't qualified. Now, if we skip ahead and we ask the question, DeSantis might be less cartoonishly unfit, but what if they were in positions of power? Who is likely to actually do better in the role? Sometimes I say to you, the person that's going to do it is going to be just as bad. I'll give you an example. Matt Gaetz for AG. Completely unqualified. He should be really, nominated to main crime committer, not main crime prosecutor. So Gaetz steps down and they put in Pam Bondi. Oh, okay, Pam Bondi's better, but is she? I think that although Pam Bondi doesn't have the personal scandal to the same degree that Gaetz has, effectively, Bondi and Gaetz share that they are both more than willing to go after Trump's political enemies, do Trump's revenge, weaponize the justice system. So although Bondi is less obviously unfit, she's going to do just as bad a job as Matt Gaetz would have done. When it comes to Hegseth and DeSantis, my view is a little different. I don't believe that DeSantis is a good choice. His worldview, his beliefs, his policy positions, his approach to military, I disagree with all of it. But I do think that Hegseth is so acutely unqualified and a danger in a particular way that DeSantis is not. I think DeSantis would be slightly less bad as Secretary of Defense than would Hegseth, whereas Bondi and Gaetz, I basically see as two sides of the same coin. Let me know what you think about that. I'm curious your opinion. Agree, disagree. On the bonus show today, we are going to talk about the wild killing in cold blood of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. I'll tell you what is known and what is not known. It's an insane story. We'll also talk about South Korea's opposition parties moving to impeach the president over the sudden declaration of martial law. And finally, the Satanic Temple has done it. They are getting a religious program for elementary school students in Ohio. It's all completely optional. If you're going to allow Christianity to have such a program under the law, I think you have to allow the Satanic Temple to have such a program as well. All of those stories and more on today's bonus show. We are pushing to 4,000 pre-orders for my forthcoming book, The Echo Machine. Add your name to the pre-order list and get all of the free stuff by pre-ordering today and submitting your receipt at davidpakman.com/freebookstuff. I'll see you on the bonus show and back here tomorrow. Well, I wrote a book after a long journey and a ton of work. I am really thrilled with how it turned out, and I hope you'll read it. The book is called The Echo Machine, and in a nutshell, it looks at how American politics got so broken, who has already figured out solutions, and how we can try to fix it and stop the terror of Trump for the next 4 years. With Trump winning this election, The Echo Machine couldn't be more relevant, not only a warning about how we got here, but also about what might be coming and how to prevent the worst outcomes. We've got to stay engaged. We need a plan, and that's what the book is about. There's a belief out there that unless you have corporate media behind you, you can't have a successful political book launch, that it's not possible. I think we can prove that wrong. Order The Echo Machine today at davidpakman.com/echo on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Audible, Kindle, anywhere that books, ebooks, and audiobooks are sold. You can also call any local bookstore and say, please order me The Echo Machine by David Pakman. Wherever you get the book, you'll get the free pre-order perks, including the signed book plate. Head to davidpakman.com/freebookstuff after ordering.